Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, either way, hey y'all. So it's been a while, and yeah, so I got a word for y'all real quick. So I want to talk about boundaries, even spiritual boundaries, okay? Boundaries that God has instilled in us or been instilling in us, and we may not have even realized that he was instilling them in us, but somehow we know that these boundaries are set in place for a reason. Okay, so when God has something that he wants you to do, he's gonna prepare you for it, and he's gonna make sure that you have the inner wisdom and the tools to carry out the mission, right? And while he gives you the inner wisdom and the tools, these this spiritual wisdom and tools create boundaries, okay? And these boundaries are going to help you as you go on about your spiritual journey. As you progress in the spirit, as you progress in your relationship with God, you are going to attract or encounter different people, and the different levels of people that you attract is based on the newfound wisdom in the things that you know. Best believe, no matter what you think you know, is always more to know, okay? So most of the time, the people that you are attracting are maybe a step or a blessing higher than you, okay? So most of the time, these people know a little bit more than you do, right? And it may not necessarily mean that they know more than you. It may just mean that they know what part of the process that you're in, right? And they know that this part is beneficial, and not only beneficial to you, but if they can, um capture a piece of, what God is doing in your life, or a piece of this moment in your life, then it can be beneficial to them, right? So not everyone knows how to respect others' boundaries. Some people, they come around or whatever, and it's not that they don't respect your boundaries, it's just that they don't know what boundaries really are. Like, it's hard to know what something is if you don't have them for yourself, right? So maybe they do have a certain level of boundaries, but the boundaries that they have for themselves is, for a level of living, okay? So the boundaries that you have for yourself may be set up because you have a plan, to go somewhere else, and the boundaries that they have for their self is set for where they are in life and where they want to be, okay? So sometimes people boundaries just don't align with each other, okay? So it's important that we are aligning ourselves with people who have the same or similar boundaries in their lives, because once you align yourself with people like that, then they won't be trying to cross your boundaries, because they'll recognize your boundaries as equal to theirs. And then it creates a balance, and it's all about, the I want vibration, the level of the level of knowledge, okay? The level of knowledge that you have, or somebody else may have. Like if it's equivalent in a way, like the vibration is equivalent, the knowledge is equivalent, then you guys can coexist, in peace and harmony. But if you're aligning yourself with somebody whose vibration or knowledge is below yours, then you're kind of like, and not saying below, but if the people that you're aligning yourself with is not seeking the same level of intelligence or wisdom that you're not, then you are out of alignment with what you're supposed to be doing, because they're not leading you to where you're trying to go. Okay. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that anybody else is, beneath or, above the other. But what I am trying to say is not everybody is trying to go where you're trying to go. Some people are, um, what is it? Some people are content in where they are, which is fine. But since you're not content with where you are, you cannot align yourself with people who's content with where they are. Because once you start to align yourself with people who are content with where they are, you start to become content with where they are. Okay? So we have to learn that the boundaries that we or God has instilled, the spiritual boundaries that God has instilled in us over time, are protecting us from the contentment of others or the vibrations of people who don't align with us. Okay. So when it's time for us to exercise our boundaries or to instill them in our lives, we want to make sure that we're being firm, with them, because if you're not firm or, if you're not firm with your boundaries and the things that you set for yourself, what makes, us think that the people around us is going to uphold them? Okay? Because people only do what you allow them to do. People are only going to respect you as much as you respect yourself. The same as people only going to respect your boundaries the way that you respect them. So if you tell somebody something, but you doing the total opposite, they're going to be looking at you like, well, why should I uphold this? And they not even, upholding it in their own life. So when it comes down to our spiritual boundaries, we have to make sure that we are sticking to them and that we are making them a part of our everyday life. Like it's not something that you do sometimes and sometimes you do it another time. These boundaries are what make us, structure us the way that God wants us to be. Okay. With these boundaries that God has instilled in us and carefully put inside of us, we have to make sure that we use them to protect our peace. And like I said, while some people might come about and they know the boundaries that they see the boundaries that you have, and they don't respect them because they don't want you to have the boundaries, because if you have the boundaries, then they can't do what they want to do in your life, right? But then there's other people who don't recognize what a boundary is because they don't have them in their own life. And the moral of the story is you have to, or we have to be the ones to instill the boundaries in our life, right? Because the way we treat ourselves is how others are going to treat us. So be sure to be stern with your boundaries. These are the things God uses to bring your blessings about, okay? Because it's a part of you being obedient when God is trying to do something in your life. So make sure you are keeping the peace in your life by exercising the spiritual boundaries that God has given you. Okay. And that's all I got, y'all. Until next time, I love you. Mwah.